And it's today we are doing this topic, okay? Right, firstly, we go through what you have learned in lower block science, okay? So plant parts, leaf, flower, okay, stem, and the roots. Okay, this you are quite familiar. Okay, and then the different types of flowering plants. Not too sure whether your school has a lot of these plants or not. I suppose should have, all right? Because that is how it should be. Okay, so y'all can always move out of the classroom, go to the science garden, okay, or move around the school to look for flowers and plants, right? So this is morning glory. Morning glory is very, very pretty, okay? And you will see it like on the fence, okay, of the school, the barricade. Okay, so if you can see the wires of the barricade, that they are actually twirling around everywhere. Yeah, because they don't have a very strong stem. Okay, so what they do is they need support. All right. This is hibiscus. Okay. This hibiscus doesn't look very, very red, right? But you have seen very red hibiscus. Am I right? Then there's also yellow color hibiscus as well. Okay. Hi, Swastika. Good morning. Today we are doing reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, so I'm actually going through this topic, okay, very briefly. You have a lot of information inside your textbook, okay, but I will be providing you notes for this topic. Okay, this is lily, okay. If you usually schools don't grow or don't plant this lah. Okay, can you see the pollen, the yellow pollen here? Okay, later you will understand why this is important. All right. Then this is papaya plant, and they zoom in to take photo of the flower. This is the male flower of the papaya plant. All right. How many of you have papayas in school? Have or not?
I don't know. I don't know.
You never walk around the school and
No,
you don't.
I got see the eco garden, but I don't know whether those are papaya plants or not.
Ah, I see. Hey, if you can see papaya plant, right? Let me just look for a picture for you to have a look, okay? Very, very nice because you will see all the fruits, all the papaya hanging. Okay, let me just show you. Look quite nice one, But in the beginning, it might look very, very weird, okay? But as it grows, as the fruit grows, right? Then you can see, oh, it's really papaya. It's not a very tall plant, okay? It's not a very, very tall plant. It's in fact quite short. Let me look for one where you can see its height. Okay, the one that I had in the school, okay, wasn't very huge, right? Wasn't very huge. It's like I can just reach out and pluck off the fruit also. Let's see whether I can show you one. Okay. Doesn't look so good, the one I have. Okay, never mind. Let me just show you. Wait a minute. I will just share the screen now. Okay, this is a Google search. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, this is the one with the flower. All right. So if you look at the fruits, okay, can you see it's not very tall? Yeah, this is how it actually looks like. Yeah. Just saying, surprising or not? It's actually not a very huge plant. It doesn't grow very, very tall. Okay.
Then my school doesn't have any.
Doesn't have. You see, there are people who actually grow it at home, Okay. But what I heard from my own mother, okay, my mom said, if you try to grow in the pot, it might not produce very good fruits, because the soil doesn't give enough nutrients. You need to plant it on the ground. The ground is huge, right? The soil. Okay, so you have a lot of those nutrients needed for the plant growth, and then the fruits will be very sweet also. Okay, you look around your neighborhood. Okay, this one is provided by National Park Board. Does this look like some HDB something? Yeah, some of the HDB blocks there. So you will be able to see, I can actually see quite a lot of papaya trees around, near my home, even in this estate. Okay, so somebody actually grew this. I can see the papaya, but I don't dare to go and pluck, because I don't know belong to who, right? You see community gardens as well. They will grow papaya, they will grow melons, they will grow all kinds of fruits. So how do they ensure that, these fruits are actually can be grown and you can actually get very nice fruits out of it? So it's important that you learn, about how this thing happens. It's called reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, so male flower of the papaya. Then this is corn. Okay, this photo doesn't look very sharp, but corn, if you take a look, this is the male corn and this is the female corn, right? Only the females can bear fruits. Okay, and you'll understand why later on. Swastika, are you doing this topic in school now? Oh, okay, that's good. So you can understand what I'm going through with you, right? Great, great. Okay, so this is the rose being, we open up the rose. Okay, seldom you see the rose bloom until so nice, right? Always when you get bouquets of flowers, you do not really have the rose blooming nicely, as in the flower doesn't open up fully. Okay, what happened is, somebody, Candice, you can't see the screen. The rest of you can see the screen or not? Can you see my rose? Huh? Candice, you can't see. Swastika, can you see or not? Jie also can see, right? What happened? Candice, what do you see on the screen? Candice, you can unmute yourself and talk to me. You see a boy? I didn't show any boy. Okay, stop share. Can you see me now? You can see me now. Just now you saw a boy. You're scaring me. I didn't show any boy. Okay, I share screen once more. Okay. Can you see this now? You can see the rose now. Okay, good. I didn't show any picture. There's no boy in any of my slides, but never mind. Okay, now, so parts of a flower, we are looking into the rose. Okay, so if I were to cut the rose into half, okay, I look at the cross section. Okay, I can see this part called the anther, this part known as the filament. Okay, and then you will see the stigma, the style, the ovary. Does the ovary sound familiar to you? Have you heard of ovary the last few lessons? Yes. Okay, because that was also part of the human reproductive system. Okay, so I give you another diagram. Okay, this probably looks easier for you, like line diagram. Yeah. So the anther and the filament you saw earlier, right? Anther, okay, is the top part of the male portion of a flower. And then this filament is actually a stick-like thing holding or supporting the anther. These two parts, okay, we call it the stamen. And this is the male part of a flower. Must remember, male part of a flower. And the anther contain pollen grains. Just now, remember, you see the yellow powdery thing on the lily? Yes, it's actually from the anther. Okay, and you will find the male reproductive cell in the pollen grains. So let's look at the other side. Yeah, the other side, okay, collectively is called the pistil. You have stigma right at the top here, a style. The style is actually quite thick, supports the stigma. And then the ovary. The ovary is deep inside the flower. It contains the female reproductive cell. Okay, the ovary actually contains the female reproductive cell. Okay, so this sepal is actually the green part, right at the bottom, the base of the flower, right? Okay, that green leaves, this is actually the sepal. Then you have the petal. Okay, the petal sometimes can be present, sometimes not present. You will understand why later. Now, if you look at this hibiscus flower, okay, look at the stigma, the style, the anther, the filament, okay? Then you have petal here, right, stem, and then the ovary. When you do this experiment in school, okay, your teacher will probably bring you to the science lab, right? And then bring flowers to you. Sometimes your teacher will buy lily. Okay, you can even go to the eco garden or science garden and pluck off, the hibiscus, cut it open and take a look. I think swastika, you have already done this experiment. Yeah, it's actually very interesting, right? To see how the stigma, the anther, the style, the filament are so different for different flowers, right? Yeah, so it's sometimes a little bit difficult to identify the parts, but not to worry, but because in your exam, they are not going to give you complicated flowers. It's going to be very straightforward kind of diagram. Okay, so for reproduction in flowering plants to take place, right, there must be a few processes. The first one is pollination. What is pollination? Remember just now you heard pollen grains? Okay, so the word is actually, pollination comes from the pollen grains. Okay, so what does it mean? There is this transfer of pollen grains from the anther. The anther is the male part, okay, to the stigma, the female part, right? So pollen grains has got the male reproductive cells. We learned also in previous lesson that, for humans, it's also the transfer of the male reproductive cells, right? From the male to the female. So very similar for the flowering plants, it's the same. Similar to human beings, but we don't call the male reproductive cell sperm here. We don't call it that, yeah? Now, pollination occurs naturally by animals, okay, including insects. It can be by wind, it can be by self-pollination. What do we mean by that? You will find out later. Sometimes human beings also intervene. If I'm the farmer, I need to grow a lot of fruits, right? I must make sure there is pollination taking place. So I will be the one responsible to make sure, pollination will happen. So I can take a brush, right? Take a brush. It's like the painting brush. Yeah, painting brush. I will go and collect all the pollen grains from the male part. Then I will brush it on to the female part. Okay? So it's like I do it for them. I help them to pollinate. This is what farmers will do. Okay? So I want you to watch this video. Tell me, you put out your hand if you cannot hear the video, okay?
This video on pollination is part of a series on plant reproduction. You'll need to have a basic understanding of the parts of a flower, so feel free to go back over and watch the video on that if you need to. Links are in the description. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants requires male gametes, produced in pollen grains in the anthers, to fuse with female gametes found in the ovules.
Okay, if you are worried about the word gametes, don't worry. Okay, for your level primary school, you just need to understand the male gametes means the male reproductive cells. Clear? You don't need to know this term. Just remember male reproductive cells. And then for the female gametes, it's just the female reproductive cells. All right?
A pollen grain must reach the stigma before its nucleus can travel down towards the female gamete in the ovule. Pollination, the part we're covering in this video,